Experience the joy of watching your friends and family's faces light up when you feed them wild game you harvested and made into delicious sausages. Or meat you barbecue and grill with the finest seasonings available. Visit our friends at Waltons.com to find everything you need to turn wild game into tasty meat snacks or spice up your barbecue with new flavors and seasonings. With over 500 seasonings to choose from, there's something that everyone will love. They even have step-by-step videos and how-to articles at Meatgistics to help you go from animal to edible. Use coupon Rangers15 at checkout to save 15% on your first order at Waltons.com. Waltons, everything but the meat.
This is the Ranger Report Podcast. News, insights, predictions, interviews, and information about the Texas Rangers from the major leagues to the minor leagues. And now, here are your hosts, Ben Dieter and CJ Berryman.
Welcome to the Ranger Report Podcast, everybody. I am Ben Dieter. You can find me at BDieter75 on Twitter.
I am CJ Berryman. You can find me at CJB_RR on Twitter.
And I don't know if you guys heard, but we have a little breaking news for you tonight. CJ, why don't you go ahead and take that?
Yeah, Ben. It seems like Anderson Tejeda at AA has eclipsed the Mendoza line. After last night, he is hitting 203.
Huge. That's huge news.
That is huge news, man, because he's been struggling all year long. We saw him with the Rangers for a little bit, then he went down to AAA and struggled, and went back down to AA, kept striking out. No, man, he's back up to 203, dude.
Yeah, I mean, huge news. I mean, and that's pretty much all we're going to talk about on tonight's show is that huge breaking news. There's nothing else that happened a couple hours ago or, in the last little while here. We're recording this on Wednesday night. Nothing else to talk about, Well, maybe, there's that rookie kid that they signed. But other than that, has anything else happened?
Nah. Oh. That is Gallo? Gallo?
Oh, yeah, Gallo.
Yeah, something with him and the Yankees. I don't know.
Yeah, the fact that it was the Yankees, and we'll get into this a little bit later with my actual feelings on it, doesn't make me happy. But, hey, at least he's reunited with Rougned Odor. The funniest tweet that I saw tonight is someone tweeted, "If this trade is Gallo for Odor, I'm killing somebody."
I like it. And
that one made me laugh. I don't remember who that was, but that was pretty funny. But no. As you know, I wanted Gallo to stay. We talked about it on the last pod. I know you thought he was going to be traded. I don't know if you wanted him to stay or not. You thought he was going to be traded, but it looks like it's happened.
This is what I've been talking about really all season long is we hope that Gallo's tearing it up and gets a big haul, which he did, and we'll go over those prospects here in a minute. 6 prospects from the Yankees, and John King is also going along with them. And it's not something that I wanted. I would have loved to have had Joey Gallo get an extension and get signed, but if the Rangers were going to get a deal that they wanted and would help push the Rangers, this is the key here, push the Rangers forward faster, I don't think this does it. And that was kind of what my thoughts hinged on, is if they got a deal done, it would be helping push it forward. But my thing all year long has been put as many talented names in the pot, and when the heat turns up, see what names are rising to the top. And man, this is just a bigger signal of that, because none of these guys, aside from one, are playing above high A.
Yeah, here's my take on it, and before I get into my real feelings on it, my take on it is the Rangers went for quantity over quality. Because originally there were 2 of the Yankees' top 10 prospects, including number 2, mentioned in the deal. Then it turns out they don't get anyone in the top 13 of the Yankees organization, and it's to me, like you said, they're just trying to, put people in the minor leagues. They're just trying to fill it up. They didn't. I'm sure they did their homework and all that, but it does not seem like an appropriate trade. And I think they just look 6 for 2. We did good, but what 6 did you get? And like you said, here in a minute we'll look into that. I don't think that they got the value they needed for Gallo, because the Yankees will have him now for a year and a half.
Yeah, that's one thing that surprised me. And like you mentioned, Clark Schmidt, when I saw his name mentioned, I texted you immediately.
Yeah.
And I was pretty riled up about that, in a good way. Clark Schmidt is their number 2 prospect and their top pitching prospect, and I'm sitting there thinking, holy cow, we got Cole Winn, we got Jack Leiter, and we got Clark Schmidt. And then it wasn't 10 minutes later, He's not in the deal, so we had to wait for those names to come down. We finally got them. And do you want to go over those names now, or do you want to go into? We'll go into your rant first. You tell me your real feelings, Ben. I'm ready, and I've got to have the responsibility now of trying to make you feel better throughout this podcast.
All right, that's good, because my professional opinion at the moment is that Rangers ownership doesn't give a crap about their fans at all. And they don't give a crap about their players. They give a crap about spending the least amount of money that they possibly can. They have a stadium. They have butts in the seats. They're selling the most tickets this year of any team. And I think the Joey Gallo trade was simply, we don't want to pay him the kind of money that he's going to earn, so we're just going to get rid of him and move on and, get whatever. I mean, their last few trades, in my opinion, have been for whatever. There's been nobody giant coming in any of the deals the Rangers have done lately. And this makes me think they're not going to spend money on this upcoming offseason at all. Instead, they're going to go with what they got, bring guys up too early, ruin them, get rid of them, try it again, and they're going to wind up 2027, 2028, maybe having a somewhat competitive team.
Ooh, Ben's on fire tonight. I will partially agree with you because we've seen Dane Dunning, Nate Lowe. Now, of course, Nate Lowe he's kind of underwhelmed right now, but you can say the same about a whole lot of players, including Adolis Garcia, who I'll get into here in a little bit, but they're surrounded by nothing, and Gallo was able to do a lot with nothing, really. Having his best year as far as OBP and defensively, last night, man, he said goodbye to the Rangers in a big way. Two outfield assists, gunning down 2 runners, and hitting a 3-run bomb that ended up being the winning shot. So I get where you're coming from, because right now look at how much money is tied into their current roster. It's very, very little, and Gallo was actually one of the probably the highest paid player, I believe. And so IKF is now the highest paid player. So
yeah,
I don't know.
They just I don't believe that they have the fans' best interest at heart. I believe that I honestly, I don't know what they're doing, to be honest with you. I don't understand. If you're in a rebuild, why not rebuild around one of the best players in baseball who is already on your team, who says he wants to stay on your team? He's the guy that is playing hard when you're down 10-0. The guy that gives the kind of effort. And I think that means that probably Woodward's on his way out, because Woodward said, that's the kind of guy I want to play for me, and then they just went and traded him out from under Woodward. So I think the team is looking to – I think they're looking to pretty much field a bad minor league team for the next 10 years.
I hope you're wrong.
Me too.
But it's the state of the Rangers right now. Again, we had a bad feeling this was going to happen at the start, and we hoped it would, but not. Man, it would have been a whole lot different. I would have felt a whole lot different about it if Clark Schmidt was involved in that.
Yeah, when I saw Clark Schmidt, I was like, okay, the Rangers got value out of this trade. That's good. And then that comes back, no, he's not involved. And then also their number, I think 7 or 8 prospect was supposedly involved, and he got dropped out. Now the highest prospect they got is number 14 from the Yankees. And, that's the highest. It goes way down from there. And 2 of them I don't think are even ranked in their top 100 prospects.
One is not ranked, Randy Vasquez.
Yeah.
He's not ranked, but we got there number 14, number 15, number 17, number 23, and number 28. And when you look at it, I felt, I don't know, a little bit better looking at it, because if you think back when the MLB Pipeline released their rankings, Anderson Tejeda is one of the Rangers' top, 10?
Yeah.
And he's been terrible. Well, Jake Latz isn't even on there. And there's just a few, and we know Jake Latz is, I would say right now he's one of the Rangers' top 30.
Yeah.
For sure, but we didn't know who he was really before the season started, and there's just I would like to see where they're going to stack up whenever you put them in the Rangers organization, and see where they rank in the prospect listing from there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I said, and I almost wanted to put our podcast off till tomorrow, because sometimes I don't do well when I'm really frustrated. I'm really frustrated.
I was afraid you would, but
no, I want to go ahead and go with it. But yeah, I'm really frustrated more than anything. Like I said, this makes me think. And obviously now I really think that Gibson and Kennedy are both going to be gone. Jordan Lyles has been good enough. Maybe they can get something for him, but I don't have any faith. I think they're just going to be gone. Maybe we get a couple of hockey sticks and some bubble gum for Kyle Gibson, and then maybe they'll trade Ian Kennedy for a bench warmer. I don't know. I mean, not an actual person, just something that warms your bench. I don't know what they're going to get for him, but it's just I have no confidence, and I was really hopeful when Chris Young took over. And I'm not saying this is his fault, but I'm just saying I was really hopeful, and now that hope is gone. The Rangers are awful this season, and they traded away the one person that's been playing hard day in and day out.
Yeah, and that'll kind of turn me over to how bad this team would look, to be honest. Without Adolis Garcia showing up and doing what he did, how bad would the lineup look like it does now? Way back when Adolis Garcia started getting to start every single day, and then if he doesn't have, what was it, the April and the June that he had?
Yeah,
the rookie of the months. How bad does it look? And I mean, people would have been screaming for the whole front office, and some of them already are. I know you're hot, and there's a guy up there in the front office that I don't want to be there. That, I've got a whole John Daniels rant coming. One of these days, now is not the time. I'm holding faith that Chris Young is the one pulling these strings, and that I just hope that the scouts know what they're doing. And when you look over the previous history, you can look back to prospect trades and bringing along prospects as a whole with the Rangers. It's never been good.
No.
It's never been good. And the prospects will either get traded before they become big and they become big with somebody else, or they come up and flame out and end up getting traded for a bag of peanuts and then tear it up with somebody else. One of them, for example, Fernando Tatis Sr. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
They traded Dean Palmer to Kansas City Royals. This is mid-'90s. And got Tom Goodwin so that they could make room for Fernando Tatis Sr. And while he obviously was a tremendous talent, he came up and struggled, and he was involved in a big playoff trade or a deadline deal when the Rangers were trying to get into the playoffs. 97,
I believe that's right,
for Todd Stottlemyre, Todd Zeile, and Royce Clayton. And the biggest name in that was Fernando Tatis going to them, and that upset a lot of Rangers fans because they felt they gave up on him prematurely, which it turns out they did. Now he's the only player in Major League history to have 2 grand slams in one inning. So, going back to I don't know. I'm staying with the belief of with the way the team was going in this year, and only having Gallo and IKF really is holdovers from when the Rangers were somewhat good. We're still hanging on. That you needed to just blow the whole thing up completely. And I'm going to go ahead and half disagree with you, but in looking at these numbers, they put up some pretty eye-popping numbers this year. And I guess now is a good opportunity to go over. You want to go over the names? Go ahead and list the names.
Yeah, so if I got this right, this is from Jeff Passett on Twitter earlier. It's right-handed pitcher Glenn Otto, second baseman Ezekiel Duran, shortstop Josh Smith, second baseman outfielder Trevor Halver, and then I believe there's a few more. If you got the other two, I have those. I think there's a few more.
Outfielder Everson Pereira.
Yep.
And Randy Vasquez, right-handed pitcher. So Glenn Otto is the only one that's even close, and he's pitching for was pitching for AAA Scranton.
Yes.
7-3 with a 3.33 ERA, 75 and 2/3 innings. His WHIP is 102. Opponent's batting average is 216, and he's got a 115 to 17 strikeout to walk ratio. He's been awesome.
Yeah.
And that's their number 28 prospect. The big name I'm seeing out of this is Ezekiel Duran, second baseman. He's in high A right now. Oh, we only have one of the best second basemen, or the best second baseman in high A right now. Which
no kidding.
I think this is signaling a call up for Foscue going to Double A. That's what I think.
I wouldn't surprise me at all. He is killing single A pitching right now.
Yeah, he's proven that he's already too much for them, and that's last year's first rounder. That's awesome. And yeah, Duran's hitting 290 this year, 12 homers, 15 doubles, 12 steals. Josh Smith, a shortstop, he's also in high A. He's hitting 324 this year, 9 homers, 12 doubles, 17 steals. Pereira, He's only played in 17 games, but he's hitting .397 with 4 homers and 6 doubles. So he's had I don't know if he was injured or why he's only played 7 games. That's a good assumption. But yeah, he's played pretty well. Trevor Hauver, second baseman, outfielder, 66 games, 288, 9 homers. None of these are. I can hear it. They're not making you smile. So, Josh Smith is the highest ranked prospect. Again, a shortstop.
Yeah.
And one thing I can say from this trade is that Rangers obviously now, most definitely, and we haven't even gotten to Kyle Gibson and Ian Kennedy getting traded, but probably the most stocked farm system in all of baseball. Now, who knows what's going to happen, because these guys are only one is above high A. And I don't know if we'll see him this year. 75 2/3, we might, but I bet he gets Dane Dunning treatment.
Yeah, I bet you're right about that. And, I'm just trying to put my thoughts into words here. It's, we've been, the joke for years and years was we were the Yankees farm system, if you remember that back in the day. And then this kind of feels the same, because they sent us a bunch of basically low A prospects for a guy that's going to be a huge help. Think about Joey Gallo with that right field porch in Yankee Stadium. I mean, my goodness,
and
he could finish. He could finish. Yeah, hitting between Stanton, and he could hit 60 home runs this year.
Yeah, with that short porch, he can just
yeah, he can bunt a ball over that porch.
Yeah, with his strength. Yeah, any line, he's going to hit a lot of line drives out there that are going to go out.
Yep. And this puts me in a hugely awkward position, because now if the Yankees make the playoffs, I kind of have to root for him, which I hate.
I'm going to root for Gallo. But
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Just rooting for anyone in a Yankees uniform makes me sick to my stomach. But I don't care where he ends up in his career. I'll always root for Joey Gallo.
Yeah, I feel the same with him about. I know he wasn't a part of the big times, but Elvis Andrus going to Oakland. I'm always going to root for him, and Mitch Moreland over there, and Jake Diekman over in Oakland. I mean, those are 3 guys that were huge fan favorites here during their time, and Jake Diekman got to revitalize his career going through his ulcerative colitis.
Yep.
And so, it's very bittersweet, especially coming off the game that he had last night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean I think he knew something already.
He single-handedly beat them last night.
He
just
did.
Just about single-handedly. It was so, I don't know. Something told me this morning too, especially when he was saying goodbye after the game.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just so, and he still, there's still a chance in a year and a half after 2022. He comes and signs back whenever the team's hot again, but that never happens. And
I don't think the Rangers will spend the money to do it. I think if they would have spent it now.
Yeah, I was talking about what the Rangers would do in the offseason. I don't know if you saw me. I was kind of going back and forth a lot on Twitter last night. I usually don't get that active, but I was, and talking about if the Rangers were going to spend money in the offseason, and or depending on whether they traded or signed Gallo to an extension. And I said either way, you don't spend much money next year, because you're not going to contend. Even if, and like we talked about with Chris Halleck, he brought up the question. So say you go out and you get Trevor Story and you get Clayton Kershaw. Is this team going to be competitive next year? And both of our answers were no. So the money being spent, I mean, if it doesn't get spent in 2 years, I'm going to be right alongside you, and I'm going to throw things. I was just about to cuss. But if in 2 years this thing is not spun up in a very, very big way, I don't even want to imagine it. I don't even want to think about it. But I know it's got to be upsetting for you, and it is upsetting for you.
I just don't know why. I don't know why I get my hopes up and then they keep doing the same thing over and over again. I don't know why I feel like, okay, Joey's going to stay and then we're going to turn into this super team by 2023 or 2024, and now that's all shot to hell.
Yeah, well, I'm immune to it, or not immune, but I'm desensitized to it because I'm a Cowboys fan.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I understand that then.
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of numb to a lot of the the disappointment because 3 playoff wins in 26 years being a Cowboys fan after growing up being 8-9 years old when they won their first of 3 Super Bowls. I was spoiled.
Yeah.
And so I going into football this season, and it's off topic, but I'll get back to it. Going into football this season, I am not hyped at all about the Cowboys. None. I'm done wasting energy doing that. And even if they make the playoffs, I'm not going to get hyped because they always disappoint in big ways. So, yeah, I'm desensitized. But again, I'm doing this based off of what I felt they should do at the beginning of the season, which is do the complete blow up.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you that this is not the return that we wanted.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly not the trading of Gallo that has me mad. I kind of knew 50-50 chance that he was going to go this year. We talked about that at the beginning of the season. We both knew there was a 50-50 chance, that he was going to be gone. It was just the haul, like you just said. It was what they got in return, not what, we had both expected to get. Like you said, just one of those top 10 guys, especially when that number 2 name came up. So disappointing that we didn't, I don't know. I could talk about it all night.
Mm-hmm. That was a huge letdown for me. I saw Schmidt immediately was one of the first names, and I was like, oh, okay, this is good. And 5 other players, great.
Yeah.
And then immediately, 10 minutes later, no, he's not in there. And then you look at the top prospect that you got, Josh Smith, number 14. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Yeah, not one top 10 guy. Not one.
Not the best. And to make you feel better about how Rangers fans feel, I don't know if you saw the poll I put out there.
I took part in it.
Yeah, over/under. The fans that have voted so far, 95-5. They're going to lose more than 100 games.
Who thinks that they? Well, never mind.
Yeah, I know. Apparently, I'm looking at.
There's some very optimistic people.
I'm looking at we got 22 votes so far in the last 20 hour and something. So it looks like that one person probably thought that they would finish with under 100 losses. And
I want their optimism.
Yeah, I was
going
to say that's that one optimistic person on Twitter that I can't follow because they annoy me.
That's somebody that you can't get mad. It's just their house could burn down and they'll be like, well, we'll figure something out.
It's all right, man.
It's no biggie. We'll get another one.
The house is burning down, so.
All right, Ben. Come on now.
Speaking of houses burning down, let's switch to some good news.
Let's talk about a guy that throws flames.
The Rangers did ink Jack Leiter to his contract today, so congratulations. We do have the new number 1 prospect in the Rangers organization, Jack Leiter, signed to his deal. Yeah, and it was pretty cool, the whole setup to what they did. He threw out the first pitch before the game tonight. It showed him and his dad, Al Leiter, walking around on the field in his number 22 jersey. And the contract details, it was, 7.9222 or something? Something like that.
Yeah, and the 22 is, the number 2, I guess, is a big thing for him. So, yeah, that's exciting, and that happened earlier in the day, and that was going to be the big story until, about 15 minutes before game time. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about the future of the pitching, and especially if you're able to. And I was thinking about this morning. If you think, I wanted to go over who. This is before the trade. We were going to talk probably what the rotation could look like next year. And Dane Dunning, I think we haven't talked a whole lot about him this year because I think both of us just know that he's going to be just fine. He's going to be good. Yeah. And we didn't really. There was a month where he struggled a little bit, kind of when the league kind of figured him out, and then he just got right back on his horse, and he's figured out what works and what doesn't work, and he's got a devastating sinker, and that's going to take him a long way. He can pitch a lot of innings and hopefully throw some Maddox games, some of them under 100 complete games, under 100 pitch complete games. So that would be cool. But then Kobe Allard, your guy, man, I'm super hyped about him, and he just needs to get some damn run support. And I said damn run support because he ain't getting none.
No, he's not.
But then my best friend Jace, you and I had the bet, and I've completely lost because Kyle Cody's out for the year now. And you had Kobe Allard, and he's looking promising. But Taylor Hearn he had a ramp up start the other day. 3 perfect innings, I believe.
Yeah, it was
3 strikeouts. So he shook the rust off the first attempt at a start where he didn't even complete the first inning, and looked fantastic. So my best friend Jace, he had Taylor Hearn is his guy to watch as far as pitching goes. And you put those three guys together next year, and, maybe this Glenn Otto, who actually he went to Rice University too, and he's a Texan, and he's kind of a legend in Rice actually. So he's also 24. He's not young. So I wouldn't be surprised if, heck, trade deadline dependent. It's just going to depend on what all you get. I think Fultonevich is going to get DFA'd. He's got to. And you put replace him with Glenn Otto, and a guy that I've been tooting for 2 weeks now, Drew Anderson. I'm a fan of his. Drew Anderson down at AAA, he's pitching really well. So you can bring him up, and if you're wanting him to kind of get the Dane Dunning treatment, that's fine. We got plenty of young arms, no longer John King, but plenty of young arms that you can do tandems with, and maybe do that the rest of the year and keep tuning these guys up for next year. So the pitching rotation, I think, next year is going to be exciting to watch.
So let's think about where those guys are going to wind up, because they're going to trade them during the season next year.
Oh, Ben's going there. Ben's going there.
Let's see. Hearn will go to the Dodgers, and no, I'm just kidding. Anyway,
I'm trying to spin things positively, and Ben is swatting me away like Dikembe Mutombo right now.
No,
Ooh,
and negativity because of the return on Gallo, but if you still look at who they have, like you were just talking about, and down in Double-A in 2 years, they're still going to have a heck of a pitching rotation in 2023 if all these guys stay healthy and make it. And, I know I'm being negative because of the Gallo trade, but
it stings. It does.
It stings. But the thing is, they're looking to the future, and it was the right move looking to the future to trade him. I'm just not sure on, like we talked about already, the return, but trading him. And here's the deal: if they are ready to compete in 2023. Maybe they will. There's a great chance, because he wants to be here, that he would come back and re-sign with Texas.
Yeah, and we've heard a lot of that, too, before. This guy is going to be a rental for somebody, and then there's a chance he'll come back and sign. Like, he understands, I'm going to go get traded to a contender, bring in some prospects, and I can come back. And I couldn't name them off the top of my head right now, but I think that's happened 2 or 3 times. But back when I was younger, you just don't hear about it anymore. And that never transpired. So, but if he absolutely was voicing that he loved it here and he wanted to stay here. And like I keep stealing this from Jeff Wilson, but he was wearing all these losses. So
yeah, he was.
He's wearing it, and it's got to bring him. We talked about it after the All-Star break. It looked like it was bringing him down, how bad they were, and I'm happy for him because he deserves to go to a contender right now in his prime. And hit between Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
he's never had that protection.
That's
before.
a nasty 3-4-5 right there.
Yeah, you're going to have to pitch to Gallo now. You can't pitch around him. So, what he's going to do he immediately. I thought the Yankees might have been down and out, but with that move. Especially with having him, all 3 of those guys too sign through next year.
Yeah.
Ooh, boy, and that's your team. I know you picked to win that division. So now you got a boost, and it's from the Rangers' Joey Gallo.
Well, now the mothership will say what a great player he is since he plays in New York.
Oh yeah, and what's funny is I know I saw a lot of Yankees fans saying, outside of their top prospect, and let me get his name. Real quick, Jason Dominguez.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I looked at that earlier.
Outside of Dominguez, everybody's trash. I don't take any minor league advice or what their opinion take. I don't take any of that seriously because they don't know who they are.
Yeah,
they don't pay it unless it's their top prospect and he's tearing it up. They don't know who he is.
Well, one thing about Yankees is they don't build through prospects; they build through buying players from other teams.
Yeah. So half the guys that we just traded, there's Yankees fans that are diehard, like we are Rangers fans, and they know who these guys are. But the ones that are going to get out there and get vocal, we're going, aside from Jason Dominguez, everybody's trash. Yeah. So I'm not taking any opinion from me. There was one guy that responded to me on Twitter, and he said, don't want to talk you off the ledge, but the Yankees farm system, pretty much what he was saying is like the Rangers. There's not a bunch of superstars, but there's a bunch of really, really good players. that are super talented that could turn into superstars.
Yeah,
there's nobody that pops off the except for Dominguez. There's nobody else that pops off. But there's so many. I don't know. There's so many players now that the Rangers have. They just stocked it. I mean, they just keep stocking it. And that's what I wanted them to do. But like we've said, that we're underwhelmed, I guess, by the haul.
Yeah, and it could turn out, though, that, a couple of these guys hit really well, and hopefully they do. I'm hoping that, I forgot his name now, the guy who's going to AAA may get called up. I'm hoping that he can at least be, better than Fultonevich was.
It'd be hard not to. I mean,
that's true.
31 home runs. Oh, my God. That's just...
At least someone on the Rangers leads the league in home runs,
Yeah. Well, and he's followed up by a teammate.
Yeah, I know. So
number one.
We have the number one and number two guys leading the league in home runs. Unfortunately, they're pitchers.
Yeah, that's the sad part.
Not the Shohei Ohtani kind of leading the league in home runs either.
Yeah, now that was definitely the opposite of Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah. Dude, I know I didn't plan on talking about him, but my goodness, man. Is he not the most amazing player you've seen in your lifetime?
It's hard to say no because we've never had a guy like him who pitches and hits at a very, very high level.
I was going to say he's not the best hitter I've ever seen. He's not the best pitcher I've ever seen, but the fact that he does such a high level at both just makes him kind of transcendent above everybody else.
He's a breath of fresh air.
I agree, and I hate the fact that I like him.
I do too, and it's the same with Trout. They got one of my other players. He's one of my top 5 favorite players right now, Mike Trout, and Shohei Ohtani might be in the top 5 too. If I'd go, I'm not going to run down my list right now, but
I agree.
He's a breath of fresh air. No matter what that Stephen A. whatever his name is, ESP, that dude, God Almighty.
Well, that's for ratings, and there's a Fox Sports Radio guy that does the same thing, Doug Gottlieb, that they just throw out hot takes to try to get traffic to their show.
And it's and Jim Rome was the
he was the king. He started all that.
Yeah, that. No, I'm almost cussed again. I don't like any of those guys. I'm just going to leave it like that. Shohei is a breath of fresh air, and it sucks that we're going to have to watch him with the Angels for another 3-4 years.
Well, maybe we can talk the Angels into being as stupid as us, and he could trade him. They can trade him to us for a couple of low A prospects that aren't very good.
Believe it or not, I'm going to genuinely make you laugh before this pod's over. Do you want to kind of change up a little bit? We talked about Leiter, we talked about Gallo, and do you want to talk about what I talked about with? Talk about what I talked about. We're going to talk
about what we talked about when we talk about it.
Okay, let me try this again. Do you want to turn back around and talk about Adolis Garcia and how? I mean, he took the league by storm, really, there for 2 months. Ended up making the All-Star game as a rookie. He's going to be the AL Rookie of the Year. Most likely it would be.
Well, since the guy who was competing with him retired.
That was weird.
I think he's back now, but he retired for like half a day.
That was like a Cole Beasley retirement right before training camp.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
I'm back.
I think he was in the lineup the next day.
Yeah, it wasn't. I
don't think he even retired for 24 hours.
He went to sleep. It was like a bad drunk. He got real hammered the night before, woke up the next morning going, what did I do?
Wait, did I retire? Oh, my gosh. I need to get back into baseball.
Make a phone call. So Garcia was shot in the arm, a breath of fresh air. He brought some life to the team. And I don't know where the Rangers would be without Adolis Garcia. This thing, we would be making the Diamondbacks look like a mediocre team. With how bad I think that the Rangers would have looked if Adolis Garcia hadn't come in and saved the day there for a little while.
Yeah, I think we'd have 10 or 12 less wins if Garcia wasn't with the team.
Yeah, I mean, and that Houston Astros series, whenever we were sitting there going, man, this team is fun. We know they're not going to be very good in the long haul, but man, this team is really fun. They're fun to watch. He had just had that series against the Astros over the weekend, and on Sunday night capped it off with the walk-off home run, and he hit 4 home runs in that series and had a couple of outfield assists. I mean, it was an Adolis Garcia show, and it's like, oh, man. We actually had a podcast saying, could the Rangers actually stay close to 500 for the rest of the year? We actually had one of those. Can you believe that?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you remember. I'm sure you do. In 2020, when they did hit 500 at 10-10.
Yeah,
we were like, here we go, man. And then they lost like 17 in a row or whatever, and that was the end of that.
It's funny, we had that pod, and then they go to Anaheim, and the wheels come off. That's when they lost to Anaheim in 2. Then they go to Seattle and lose 4. Then they go to Colorado and lose 3. And then we were like, well, big gulps, huh? See you later.
They do have a tendency to lose in streaks.
Very big bulks, and they were depressing. And last night, when they had the bases loaded, I texted you a couple days ago. What did I say that I do now when I hear that they have the bases loaded?
You turn it off.
I turned the game off because I don't want to see how they're going to fart that away.
I should have done that because bases loaded, nobody out last night. Well, luckily they won the game, but still, I was like, you have got to be, and I did, I think, drop a couple of expletives. You got to be kidding me, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I was, and then tonight, that trade guy, it's just, it's been a rough day for me personally, which I'm sure the Rangers care about that.
Yeah, I can feel the steam coming through the microphone here. It's getting a little hot here from Ben, and I want to also change it up a little bit and talk about what shortstop might look like, because I don't know. Especially now that you just made a trade with 2 guys that could play shortstop. Josh Smith, shortstop, hitting .324 with 12 home runs. He could be a power hitting shortstop. At 39 games, 9 home runs, not bad, and his slugging .641. It's another high A guy, Justin Foscue. Davis Wenzel could play short. We've also talked to Luis Angel Acuna, and I'm not just high on him because of his name. I am not. If you've been watching him and paying attention to what he's been doing since a very rough first about 2 weeks of the season, he's been tearing it up.
Well, it's kind of like Josh Stowers at Double-A, who had a really tough start, but ever since then he's been tearing it up. It's like, these our minor league system, and that's one thing to be excited about. It really is good, and they did add more depth. Whether they're going to be superstars or not, they did add more depth. But I think next week on the pod, which will be again next Thursday morning probably, I think we should look a little bit at the future and maybe make some way too early projections of the 2023 roster.
2023, way. Okay.
I think that would be fun to look at and then go back, and see how right or wrong we were 2 years from now.
I'm down. I'm totally down. And another thing is looking down at what could be coming, because we're talking about shortstop, and I'm not saying I'm not sold on IKF, because I totally, that's another guy I just love, and I think he's going to be fine. But what does he look like with some players around him? It's so hard to judge. Like Nathan Lowe. Gotta keep trying to say that. Well, if we call him Nathan, I'm going to do it like we do writing. You mention their full name the first time and then go by what they go by. So, Nate Lowe, it's hard to judge him. It's hard to judge IKF. It's going to be hard to judge Curtis Terry. It's just hard to judge when the team is no good. You have no protection in the lineup. Yeah,
and that's the thing. Like, they can go right after Terry because there's no one around them.
Yeah, they're not afraid. I mean, he tore up AAA pitching, but. Which that's also big league pitching. I mean, it's. But
he had better hitters around him. Sad to say, at AAA than he does in the majors.
Yeah, and there's that. Looking at what happened last night, Nick Solak is just having a blast in AAA. That's nice to see.
Yeah, it is.
But he was 4 for 6 last night, and I don't know. Right now, Andy Ibanez deserves this shot at second.
Yeah, I agree.
To be the everyday second baseman. Now, I know we talked last week. I was pretty much saying send down Ibanez and bring up Curtis Terry. And
instead they sent down Solak.
Instead they sent down Solak. So, which I didn't. It came as a surprise, but I wasn't shocked. I mean,
no,
not at all. I mean, Solak is, and it might have been one of those situations, and it sounded like from Woodward, he was trying just too hard. He was just overstressing himself. And I mentioned it on Twitter earlier because I have to mention it. I've been doing it for about a month. You know who I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yoel Pozo. He was 5 for 7 yesterday.
Dude, he is like what Curtis Terry was when we were talking about bringing him up. He's that kind of hot.
Yeah, he's even hotter, believe it or not.
I agree.
He was 5 for 7 yesterday. They played a doubleheader, 2 7-inning games yesterday. He hit his 17th home run.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He's hitting 345. 345. And get this. In the 2-week, 12-game road trip that they just came off of, he hit 6 homers. Batted .531 with 20 RBIs. 12 games.
That's pretty good.
but what is he going to be in? What are you going to do? You can't call him up to catch. I mean, you could, but you're going to send down Trevino? No. You're going to send down Jonah Heim? No. Is he going to play first? Well, he could, but you have 2 first basemen now.
Yeah.
So I guess that one's just going to hinge on how Curtis Terry plays.
That's exactly right.
So, and we're rooting for Terry. That's a guy we've been hollering for all year.
Yep,
and
it sure is.
We're not going to root for him to go down for certain. So that's just Pozo right now is kind of blocked, unless Curtis Terry struggles, and then they probably just do a swap.
Yeah,
and that's going to be interesting. We haven't mentioned Leody Taveras in a while. He's starting to pick back up. Charles LeBlanc, I think, is going to be our third baseman come the end of the trade deadline.
I agree with you.
I really do think he's going to be called up to play third. I don't know if Brock Holt or Charlie Cobles are going to be here via trade or DFA, because that's going to be about the time where you make those decisions on what minor leaguers you really do want to see hit major league pitching and what major league pitchers you want to see face major league hitting. So that's going to be interesting. And we were talking about the future again. We're going to mention those outfielders in Double-A. They can't go wrong with any of the outfielders they put in the outfield. I mean,
nope.
Steele Walker, Bubba Thompson, J.P. Martinez,
Josh Stowers.
Josh Stowers, pick one and just put them in any order out there and put them in any spot. And that's a thing to look forward to with that future outfield. It could be the fastest outfield in all of baseball.
Yeah.
And that's saving runs. You're just saving runs there. And
correct. Yeah, they're pretty incredible.
Yeah, so that's and there's another guy that Jace Easley, and this is down east. This is low A, but Jace Easley, he's hitting 242. He was hitting just above 200 for the longest time, but he's got serious wheels. He plays center field, so yeah, he's hitting 242. His on base percentage is 389. He's got 40 steals already.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, so that's another outfielder. Thomas Segesi's another. Just Mark Church is a guy we're gonna have to watch too. Relief pitcher down in down east. That dude's electric. That dude is electric. He throws the baseball like his hair's on fire and like he's throwing a lightning bolt at the catcher. It's just something else to watch. But yeah, the future's good, and I think, and again, I'm not gonna be all overly hypocritical. I'm disappointed because we both can agree the return is not what we wanted.
Yeah,
that's what we can agree on. But I am happy that we did get 5 of their top 30.
Yep.
And 3 of their top 20, and that was preseason, by the way. That's where they were ranked before the season started.
Correct.
So they've obviously outperformed that. And in fact, Chris Halleck released a little bit ago mid-season rankings, and a couple of these guys I think are 3, 4, and 7 now. If they re-ranked them.
Okay. Yeah.
So if that'll make you feel a little bit better, Ben.
Well, here's the deal. Next week we're gonna look at the 2023 roster, and as we do that, if you're a stats and minor league nerd, then you're gonna want to tune into next week's episode because we'll have more on the guys we got from the Yankees because we'll know a lot more about them. It's hard to do research in 45 minutes before we go on the air tonight. So next week we'll have a lot more time to get ready to talk about them, and then we'll talk about the 2023 roster. So if you are a minor league nerd and love the minor leagues, you definitely don't want to miss next week's podcast.
No, you don't, because we told you earlier in the season we love these seasons. No, not because the Rangers are losing, but because it's the beginning and the building process. And
yep.
we love to dig into the minors anyway, and this is where we're going to be able to get guys on before they reach the majors, a la Curtis Terry, and we're going to get to kind of see the growth and see guys come out of nowhere. Jake Latz.
Yep.
Guys like that. So yeah, if the Yankees had just acquired Jake Latz, we would be upset
Yeah.
They got it, depending on what we got back, obviously. But they'd be mad. Like, who's this Jake Latz guy? Oh, dude, you got a pretty good prospect.
Yeah.
So.
Well, for a minute there, I thought they were getting Sherten to Postel.
Oh, yeah, because he got pulled right before the game.
He got pulled right before the trade, yeah, and I was like, oh, crap. Don't tell me we're giving him Gallo and Apostle.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about, but it ended up being John King, which I'm still disappointed about.
I'm disappointed in John King, too, but I'm glad we didn't get rid of Apostle.
No, Apostle, that's another infielder. I mean,
yeah, and he's really, really good.
He's really good, another top infielder. So that's what That's what we've done is we're just putting a bunch of talent in a pot, a bunch of seasonings in the pot, Ben.
Yep. Speaking of seasonings, thanks to Walton's first
yeah,
man, what a trend! That was perfect.
I set you up for that, buddy.
Man, you set me up. Man, it's almost like we're radio guys now, man. That was like spot on right there. Don't forget, for all your seasoning needs, Waltons.com and Meatgistics.com for recipes and other things. So, check that out. I think we'll wrap it up for tonight. A little longer than we wanted to go, but I kind of knew it would be because of the ranting that I did at the earlier on. I do feel better now that I got all my ranting out of the way.
Yeah, Ben had to get some stuff off his chest, and now he's come back down to earth a little bit. He's now maybe next podcast he'll feel a little bit better, be a little more positive, especially when we see where these prospects are going to stack up. Whenever you compare them to what the Rangers have right now and what their prospect listing is. And I promised you I'd make you laugh.
Yeah, and you did.
Well, no, I got one more.
Oh, you go. Oh, okay. Let's do it. Go for it.
So tonight, Down East was scheduled to play Fayetteville, and it got rained out, so they're playing a doubleheader tomorrow. But this was a matchup between the Down East Wood Ducks and the Fayetteville Woodpeckers. So you have the battle between the two wood teams. So who wins in a fight, a woodpecker or a wood duck?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It depends on what wood the woodpecker's pecking, right?
I guess it does. Yeah. I mean, I can. I'm not going to go
there. No. Bear with me. Like, there's different kinds of bark. There could be strong bark. It could be weak bark. You never know. Yeah. That's where I was going at with that. But one thing's for certain, we can both agree on this. There are a lot of woodies in those clubhouses.
There definitely are. The Battle of the Woodies. All right. On that note, I got a lot of editing to do, and it's 10 o'clock at night. Thank you guys very much for listening. If you made it this far, God bless you. We will talk to you guys next week.
Thank y'all for helping me calm Ben down.
Yeah, thank everybody. I needed it.
I was thinking of the listeners the whole time.
That's good. That's what you need to do because we don't want to lose them because I'm an idiot.
We probably gained some because they all agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of angry people on Twitter tonight for sure.
Yeah, maybe with my John Daniels rant, I can get some more. I need to do that soon.
Yeah, you need to do your rant for sure. All right, thank you. Thanks again, everybody, and we'll talk to you next week.
Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Ranger Report podcast. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, and at therangerreport.com.